So we're looking at the idea of collision, guys. So collision, at one of the definition or one of the aspect of the definition, you guys understand. When two things physically collide each other, something like this, or something like this. Traditionally, we understand this as the collision, right? So all of these are examples of your collision, but there is another aspect of collision that we generally don't consider as collision. I mean, till now you might have not seen that as a definition of collision. So that is if the path of one is affected by the force exerted by the other. That as a definition of collision we have not seen. So let me put it this way. So in physics, collision between two objects, it's not always the physical bouncing off of things like whatever you saw in the video. It's just not those. It can also happen when two objects one object's path gets changed. There's a small change or any kind of change by the force from another, even though it is non-contact. Even though it's from a distance, right? You have non-contact force, right? Even those can lead to collision. For example, Earth's gravity bending the path of satellite without touching it, right? So slingshot kind of maneuver. I don't know if you guys are into all the satellite movements and everything. So you get to see this with the slingshot or assistant maneuver. There are many examples. Okay, I'll give you guys one. This broad idea, this helps us understand collision in a different manner. So you need to understand that it's not only a physical collision, it can also be non-physical collision. There is a distance influence, getting influence at a distance, getting the path changed. For example, Earth's gravity. We use Earth's gravity to change the path of the satellite, right? Okay, so types of collision, we have elastic, inelastic, perfectly inelastic. Then we have explosive, one dimension, two dimension. So let me go to elastic and inelastic. So elastic collision is wherein there's no loss of energy. Such collision are elastic collision. Inelastic has to do with you have the collision, but in collision what happens is there is loss of energy. Okay, it can be in form of heat, sound, then deformation, that is something got bent, right? So all of those are example of inelastic collision. Perfectly inelastic is wherein you have one object hitting the other and they move as a single one. Okay, so I'll show you guys examples. So this set of examples, this set of collision are your, what is it? Yes, inelastic. Okay, I don't know if you are able to hear the sound, but clearly there is sound. Okay, so we are losing, at the point of collision, we are losing energy because of sound, for example. So closest to me having a elastic collision is this video. Of course, it's not, but you can imagine, right? There's no sound, there's no nothing. And there's no change in the temperature over there. So this is an example of elastic collision. So then you have perfectly inelastic collision. Okay, let me kind of show some rough. It's not an exact animation. So that was elastic collision. Inelastic collision. So here too, there's a bouncing off thing example I'm showing. So perfectly inelastic, the object becomes one and they start moving also. Again, this is a bad animation, but I thought I'll not show it, but then I decided it's okay. I mean, you guys are mature to understand what is wrong with the animation. Head-on collision is, one dimension collision. They just in the same straight line, they're coming and hitting each other. Two-dimension collision is they are supposed to be going in different directions, right? Two cars coming in T junction. So one takes a turn, other need not, other is going straight, and they can collide. So those are your example of two-dimensional collision. So on the roads, we get to see most of the time two-dimensional collision. On highways, mostly we'll get to see one-dimensional collision, especially in US, I guess. There it might occur. Of course, it occurs everywhere, but all this pile up and all of that is an example of one-dimensional collision. US may all this piling up of stuff. Okay, so one thing that I want you guys to do it, one request that I have is, I want you guys to go and search for, a minute, just getting things arranged. So search for this, guys. Search for gravity assist maneuver. There are so many. Oh man, it's actually capture. NASA's spacecraft, actually. I think I got this is L, by the way. Lucy spacecraft only. Yeah. Okay, you just search this. You'll get to one thing is, this is an example of that there's no physical connection, So collision at a distance. So this is an example of collision at a distance. And it is also an example of, what is it? Elastic collision. Kind of. Okay, we can consider this as an elastic collision. Okay, so that is must for you guys to do it. So try doing this. Not try, do it. It's good to have a practical example so that it makes sense. Okay, so let's dive into elastic collision. You please copy all of this. So again, elastic collision, there's no wastage of energy. In elastic, there is wastage of energy. Perfectly inelastic. It's of course an example of, or a subcategory of inelastic collision. But in perfectly inelastic, two objects, they move as a single object post collision. And you guys have to search for this. And you can use it as an example also.